So welcome to AdvantageLumber.com Custom Flooring Edition. We're going to take a product to an unfinished solid Ipe to a custom pre-finished flooring. Today we're here with our own Advantage Lumber Flooring Category Manager, Bruce. Bruce, how are you?
Great, how about yourself?
Now, last time I saw you, you're a different person. What happened?
I went missing.
Rumor has it he lost about 70 pounds. Is that right?
That's right.
I lost about 15. So to AdvantageLumber.com crew and folks out there, the challenge is set. Let's go back to the product. So we have a really cool project here. Tell us a little about what we're doing.
Well, you know, this particular, this is actually a single home, and it's up in the DC area. Okay. Really high-end project, and yep. We actually milled all the trim and moldings and stair components of the house as well. So I mean, it's
so not just the flooring, but the trim and
that's right.
The stair.
That's right. And this customer here, I mean, you know, obviously we sell square edges as well, but we also sell pre-finished, which is the larger portion of the business, I would say, right. These days. And a lot of that has to do with the factory finishes and how far they've come in the last 15 to 20 years. You know, there was a time when you go back and initially factory finishes, although really durable, they weren't as pretty as a lot of the site finishes were at the time. But now they've, you know, really got the chemistry down on the finishes that on the UV cure with all that durability and wear resistance, they've been able to really replicate the natural feel of wood, the warmth of wood inside the home and you know, office or commercial space, right. That they weren't able to 15, 20 years ago. So, so with, you know, thinner, more high performance finishes, you've really achieved a much better look and a much better value to the customer. So, so that's where we are, and this project in particular, the customer chose Ipe, which is one of the most dense and most, you know, hardest woods that are available to run for flooring. It's about 3,700 Janka hardness, which is about roughly 3 times as hard as red oak.
Wow.
I mean, it's really tough stuff. So, you know, if you've got dogs or whatever, this, you know, or a lot of heels or
really
whatnot,
resilient.
It's really resilient. You know, less denting and really creates a, you know, a really durable product for the home. So anyway, you know, we got here. We're running about 12,000 feet for this particular job, and you know, we thought we'd walk you through the process a little bit to you know, show you, you know, how it goes from this you know, simple piece of wood to this beautiful stained pre-finished piece of wood that will you know, last for decades before you have to do anything to it.
There you go. So it's pretty cool. We're going to go through A through Z through the process from raw to finished product with our expert flooring category manager. Here we're in the first step. See all these pieces coming through, Bruce, and I often get asked by customers, even our sales reps sometimes, why random lengths? Why can't it just be one single length? What do you say?
Well, part of it's cost, obviously, and yield of the log. You want to make best use of the resource. You know, so what happens, it comes through, initially you might have like pallets of lumber that are, you know, made from one tree. It comes out of the kilns, goes through the milling process, and everything we mix, excuse me, everything gets mixed through, so we get a you know, mix of color and grain, right. And really gives that vibrancy to the product, particularly in something like Ipe. And you know, the random lengths, you're going to have different places in your job where you have to start rows, because all the planks have to be at least, you know, 6 inches offset when you're installing. So you're going to have, you know, natural offsets in your installation. You're going to have small areas, hallways, other areas that are going to make good use of those smaller boards as well. But it's really about, you know, resource utilization, you know, giving that vibrancy and the visual to the floor, and you know, ensuring that we've got a competitive product for the marketplace. You know, decking, if you know, familiar with the decking market, which I know you are, but some of our customers may not be, often comes in fixed lengths, and it's also much more expensive. And it makes limited use of the resource, good use, but limited. Flooring is one of those products that is a offshoot, basically, of the decking market that, you know, helps kind of bring the whole utilization of the timber together.
Right, so it's two then. It sounds like it's a sustainability and utilization of the resources, making it cost efficient, but also on the application of the product in the home, it also gives a beautification where it creates a random look where you're not so static. It's a natural product after all, right?
Yeah, and you want to see that natural beauty, which, you know, and you know, the great thing about it, you know, advantage too, is that we can carry that visual all the way through the home and out into your backyard,
Right.
which is great.
Absolutely. All right, on to the next step. All right, so we just walked by the sander. It was really loud. We had to get past it, but one thing I noticed is the product, when it comes to us, it's already milled while we were running through the sander.
Well, see, it's milled in a smooth but still rough, you know, format, and you know, try and leave as much of the product on there as possible before finishing. So it goes through a series of sandings, and we can ensure that there's no dents and dings. Like if it were done, excuse me, if it were sanded earlier, you might end up getting dings and dents and things that you'd have to take out anyway.
So to remove the last imperfection,
Right.
basically.
To remove the last imperfection, so it goes through a series of 60, 80, 120, 150.
So after the sanding, now it's where the magic happens. I'm seeing pieces go from this color to that color. What's going on here?
Right, so it went through the stain, the first station in the finish line where the stain is applied, and then it goes through the brush rollers, which move that stain further into the grain.
What kind of finish are we using here?
We're using a bonus system finish.
Okay, is that water-based or oil?
Oh, yeah, it's a water-based finish. Yeah, it's you know, generally speaking, most of the factory finishes these days are water-based finishes.
Is there a reason for that? Is there a pro and con?
It's, I mean, wonder it's, you know, better for, you know, environmentally it's better. You use less costly materials, and there's no off-gassing and all the rest of it. Also, it's a very secure and stable system, you know, for a lot of these oily woods.
Excellent. All right, so we went through the sander, the finish, and I see some lights here. What's happening?
Yeah, bright lights, bright lights. Yeah, so it goes through after the stain is applied. Then it goes through a series of lights that are actually UV curing lights. So you're curing that finish using the UV instead of having an ultra long oven like they might have had, you know, 50 years ago to dry that, you know, you're getting that reaction kicked over from the UV lamps.
All right, so here we're in the heart of the manufacturing, the hardwood flooring, and I'm looking back and I'm seeing 100 yards worth of machine on both sides of us. What's going on? Why so many steps?
Well, you know, Greg, we got a U-turn in here too, so it's twice that. It's, you know,
right.
Basically the length of 2 football fields, and yeah, I mean, it's so many steps because you've got different, you know, series of coatings on here. So, you know, we showed this, you know, the staining earlier. Now you've got a couple of coats of the sealant coats here that are applied, and then you've got multiple coats of you know, you've got a aluminum oxide fortified layer. Then you have clear layers that are layered on top of that, and then you get all the way back down to near where we started, and then you've got a finish layer that is has a final layer that's, you know, additionally scratch resistant to fine scratches. You know, where the A-Lox, you know, layer is for heavy scratching, and where, you know, long-term wear, the fine layer is for fine scratching to really, you know, give you that new looking finish. As long as you keep your floors clean, it'll last for a long time.
To me, it really illustrates, it puts the luxury in luxury hardwood flooring. I can tell how laborious it is, the attention to detail, and how many steps to make not just a beautiful product, which obviously it is, but also durable. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you know, that's really the key to it. I mean, you're you know, getting the value that's offered by, running through a production line with, with serious industrial coatings that, are extremely durable, can't be reproduced on site, and with processes like, the UV curing, which, to this degree you can't produce on site, and it's really a, pretty cool process when it's all said and done.
One of the things I heard over time too is that you buy a luxury hardwood flooring, you're buying a flooring for life, right?
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, these coatings are designed, as long as you do your regular cleaning and maintenance, they're designed to last for decades. And they're very hard to sand off, so people often ask, how many times can I resand my floor? And the reality is, if you take care of it, you probably never have to resand your floor. But you always can if you decide, hey, one day you wake up and you want a different color and you want to do that, you can. But it's certainly something whereas a site finish floor, you might have to refinish every 10, 15 years guaranteed, to keep it looking fresh. A factory finish floor, you can do that every 30, 40, 50 years.
We're in the finish line. I'm looking at this product and it's just beautiful. I wish you guys were here. I'm looking at this, Bruce, and this is quite a darker tone that we usually see, even with Ipe. Yep. What was the process like of the customer choosing this custom color? If we have another customer that's watching this, how do they go about choosing?
Yeah, so in this case, the customer had an idea. That's usually where it starts from. It's just a customer's idea. They have something that they saw that they like. It could be anything. You never know where the idea comes from. Excuse me. In this case, it could have been, the customer likes the rich tone, the warmth of it, and so we presented some pictures initially to say, hey, okay, how about this range, this range, this range, this range, and the customer said we'd like it in this range. So we put together a variety of samples in that color range and sent them to the customer. Customer made selections from there. We ran a few more based on their selections, sent them back to the customer for approval. Customer signed off. We brought those back here, and they're right actually on the other side of the line here as a reference point when we did the stain preparation.
Another question I often get is, you see this product is a solid floor. We also do engineer.
Correct.
And I often get asked, can you install? So here it is. Maybe we'll solve this once and for all. Can you install solid wood flooring on concrete?
Absolutely. Under the right conditions and with the right installation product. So,
right.
So really, where you cannot install it is in a basement. Okay. Slab homes are common up and down the coast and in some lower lying areas. And it's a massive percentage of the home construction in the United States. So with that said, some of the, in fact, most of the key adhesive manufacturers have come up with a multi-purpose glue system that provides a moisture barrier in addition to its adhesive that fully seals the provides that moisture barrier underneath the product. Now with that said, you have to do some things with your concrete testing, make sure it's within a acceptable range, make sure that your concrete is flat, not level but flat, and so sometimes there's some grinding and filling that needs to be done in order to prepare the surface for that. But yeah, absolutely. The adhesive technology has come a long way. That same adhesive is used for solid and engineered. All the key manufacturers have some version of it.
Excellent. So you hear from the expert, our own category flooring manager. You can do it, you just got to do it right. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you for those who stayed with us during the tour. Remember, if you have a project that is luxury hardwood flooring, AdvantageLumber.com. Your project is our inspiration. See you next time.
Take care. Thank you.